There's this one really important shot a lot of players seem to struggle with. That's why in this video I'm showing you how to execute it together with 4 scenarios where it's a real game changer. And make sure to watch till the end for a nice surprise. So in the first situation, obviously we want to shoot that one into the corner pocket. Then we want to leave the cue ball here and have a straight in shot into that corner pocket. So let's try a stop shot first, where the cue ball doesn't have any forwards or backwards rotation and just stops in place. And you can see this is not ideal because we are not straight. Here would have been straight, and now we have, well, a missable 8-ball because you have to shoot that one into a blind pocket, and that one is easily missed. So now we know a stop shot is no good because the cue ball ends here, but we want to have it here. So let's try to follow the cue ball. This means we're hitting high in the cue ball, and this will make the cue ball go forward. So let's have a look what happens. Well, obviously this is also no good because the cue ball just follows way too much, and this is not the 8-ball you want to have. So how about we just hit a bit softer? So now obviously I'm trying to not hit as hard, that the cue ball stops earlier. So let's see how that looks. And now we have a great straight in shot on the 8-ball, but the problem is the ball will never reach the pocket. So what can we do? Well, obviously we're gonna learn the shot that is promised in this video, and to understand the shot you're about to learn, we need to go one step back and understand the stop shot. Because what you can do on a stop shot is you can hit really, really soft and make the cue ball stop in place. Just like that. But at the same time on a stop shot, you can also hit a lot harder and you can still make the cue ball stop in place regardless of the speed. You can see that one was a lot harder. So why is that? Why can you do it on a stop shot and why can't you do that on a follow shot? Or maybe you can, you will see in a minute. So the thing is, on a stop shot, what you want to ensure is that the cue ball is not rolling forward when it hits the ball. It should not spin backwards. It should just slide. No forwards nor backwards rotation when you're making contact with the object ball. This is why you can hit at different speed, because it's all about the rotation. And the good news is you can also do that with a follow shot. You can hit at any speed and always make the cue ball follow just that amount, maybe a bit further, maybe a bit shorter, no matter how hard you're hitting. This is the great thing. Well, there's a bit more to that, but I will teach you the whole physics behind that shot at the very end of this video. Now let's just have a look at the shot. So what we want to achieve is that when the cue ball makes contact with the object ball, that it just has a tiny bit of forwards rotation on it. Just like that. Did you see the cue ball just was moving a bit forward? So what did I do? Well, I was just hitting a tiny bit above center. This means the cue ball wasn't rolling forward when it was traveling to the ball. It just had a tiny bit of forwards rotation on it. And this was why the ball also just followed a tiny bit. So you don't want to put a maximum follow, not maximum high on the cue ball, but just a tiny bit. And then the cue ball will just follow a tiny bit, even though when you're hitting hard. So let's set the shot up again and give it a try. So here, when I'm playing that shot, I'm not hitting low, I'm not hitting maximum high, I'm just hitting a tiny bit above center. And all of a sudden, we hit really hard, but the cue ball just followed a tiny bit, and we have a perfectly straight in shot on the 8-ball. All right, let's use that type of shot in the next situation. In this situation, you need to get from the 1 to the 8. So let's roll that in first and see if we can just get a straight in shot on the 8-ball. So no high, no low, just rolling the ball. And the cue ball already followed way too much, and this is not a shot you want to have on the 8-ball, right? So let's play a stop shot and see what happens then. So I'm hitting low on the cue ball and I want to make the cue ball slide on impact. No backwards, no forwards rotation. And once again, I don't think this is the 8-ball you want to have, because this is awfully difficult to reach and very easy to miss. Yeah, missed it. But the good news is, as you may be already expecting, we're about to play the very same shot we were playing before. This means we're gonna use some power. We wanna just hit a bit above center, that the cue ball just has a bit of forwards rotation when it hits the ball, and then the cue ball should just follow a little bit. By the way, I'm gonna teach you at the end of this video how you know where exactly you have to hit on the cue ball. And the cue ball just followed a tiny bit, and we have the best possible 8-ball you can wish for in that situation. That one is a really interesting one. So we're on the solids and we want to get position on the 8-ball. Obviously, we have to shoot the 1 ball into this corner pocket. And if this blocking stripe ball wouldn't be there, all we could do is just play a follow shot. So we're going to use high, make the ball, and just follow the cue ball down for a perfect shot on the 8-ball. But the problem is we have that blocking ball here. So if we would play a follow shot now and try to play the same path, the cue ball will just run into the ball and you have absolutely no chance to get on the 8-ball. So how about we use the tangent line? If you don't know what the tangent line is, watch one of my previous videos to see it in detail. Real quick, this right here is the tangent line. This is the 90-degree line you have, and that way the cue ball will hit the rail. But let's give it a try. Maybe we can get some kind of position on the 8-ball. Well, it's actually not that bad, but if we hit a bit harder, the cue ball comes out more like this, and I don't think this is a good shot on the 8-ball. So far we played just straight-in shots, but we can also play that shot, of course, if we're having an angle. And what happens here is, obviously, you're gonna have follow on it. This means the cue ball won't travel along the tangent line, where the cue ball has no backwards or forwards rotation. It will leave the tangent line forwards. So let's give it a try and see how that looks. Then all of a sudden, the cue ball doesn't hit here, but it's hitting here, and we have a really good shot on the 8-ball. Okay, let's go to the final example. So here we have a ball where the cue ball goes into the rail after contact, and this might seem difficult, but it's actually very easy. First of all, what do we want to do? We want to shoot the 11 ball into the corner pocket. We want to bring the cue ball, in the best case, in that area, either here for the side pocket or here for the corner pocket. But what would happen if we would just play a stop shot? Take a guess. Well, here the cue ball comes basically straight out of the rail. And this is very simple to explain, because if you look at the tangent line, the ball goes pretty much that line into the pocket. A 90-degree line is basically like that. So the cue ball comes into the rail like that. And of course, it bounces immediately out. And this is why the cue ball comes out of the rail like this. If you would hit low, a draw shot, this means the cue ball would come off the rail like this. And if we hit follow, of course, the cue ball wants to go into that direction. This means the cue ball will come more off the rail like this. So let's play a follow shot and see what happens. And the cue ball goes forward. But the problem is we have that blocking ball here, so we can't take that path. So we just want to have a tiny bit of forwards rotation. This means the cue ball won't follow all the way to here, but it just will leave the tangent line a tiny bit to here, and then it should travel along this line. Nice. Almost a straight-in shot into the side pocket. We can also play it into the corner pocket. This is personal preference. There is just one big question left now. How do you execute the shot, and what other factors do you need to change for a different outcome? And I personally play the shot 100% with feel, which should be the goal, but I'm gonna break it down for you. We have the cue ball like 1 diamond away, and just to have a reference, I'm gonna hit a quarter of a tip above center, and then I'm gonna play with that speed. And you can see the cue ball followed like that amount. The first factor we can change is obviously the easiest one, how high you're hitting above center. So let's increase it from quarter of a tip to like half a tip and see how that changes the cue ball. Now the cue ball traveled like twice the distance. Keep in mind, I played it with the exact same speed and I had the same distance, so I only changed one factor, which is how high I'm hitting on the cue ball. Now, big question is, if I would now still play the same amount of high, so half a tip, and I'm hitting softer, do you think the cue ball will follow even more when I'm hitting softer, or the cue ball will follow less? Well, that's a big question, and if you don't know the answer, we're gonna do a little experiment, because I was telling you in the beginning I have a surprise for you. Because if you have questions about pool in general or about that specific shot, I have a brand new website, the Sharivari.shop, which includes the Sharivari AI that was trained on everything I ever produced. So let's go to the Sharivari AI and ask that question. And now I'm really curious because I'm asking this question for the very first time. By the way, while waiting, you can already ask your follow-up question. So my artificial intelligence is basically saying that the cue ball will follow more because the stun will transition into a rolling cue ball. So now let's take it to the test. Is the AI right? So I'm gonna play the shot, half a tip above center, and I'm gonna hit softer. And in fact, the cue ball actually traveled further because the cue ball started to roll, and that simply means the cue ball had more forward rotation than before. Let's do another factor, which is not speed, but also distance to the ball. So if we increase the distance, you have to consider, if you hit softer, then the cue ball once again at one point starts to roll. So if I wanna here just have it follow a tiny bit, then I have to hit harder because I don't wanna have the cue ball start rolling. So here, I'm hitting just a tiny bit above center. So keep in mind, not only the tip position on the cue ball, meaning how high or low you're hitting, but also the distance and the speed that you're hitting the shot with will change the outcome. And now head over to my brand new website. We've really put our heart and souls into that project, and I guarantee it's something for everyone who wants to improve his game. Enjoy!